Chicano Ideas YouTube channel. How's it going, everybody? Let's talk about race, ethnicity, and nationality. Because I see people leaving comments plenty of times, and yes, I've talked about this in other videos. Like you could go to my videos, scroll down, and look at Hispanics, a race. I talk about it. I talk about ethnicity and nationality and ethnicity in videos, but I never did a video. So let's talk about nationality. It means the nation you were born in. It's more of a relevant thing that when you became an American, that you were a citizen. Because in a lot of countries back many, many years ago, it wasn't like that. It always depended on the roots of your heritage and your culture and the race of people. Let's say that your ancestors were originally from on whatever part of the world. But nowadays, it's kind of like mostly on this part of the world, I think between Canada, Mexico, and the United States, if you are born in any of these nations, it makes you a citizen. That is considered your nationality. So just like how anybody could be born in America and be considered an American and get citizenship, if you're born in Mexico, you are considered a Mexican. So like Canelo, if you look up his roots, his heritage line, you could just look at him. He has red hair, he's hecka light. You obviously know that he's not a mestizo. He's not mixed with Indian, Indio, and Spaniard. So when you go read about him, yes, his parents are Irish. His parents are not mestizo. They're not Indio mixed. They understand when you read. I believe he has a European descent bloodline that stayed within the European descent. Just like how there's the Criollos in Mexico, they've been here for generations. They know they're Spanish and they only stay within their own kind of just Spaniards, but yet they're North American born and raised, but they keep their bloodline and heritage amongst the Spaniards, the Criollos. So, yes, in China, for an example, if you are born in China, you are not considered a citizen. It is not considered your nationality. Like, for an example, people who are mostly born over there are people who are a part of the military. So when you have your son in China, it doesn't automatically make him a Chinese citizen or his nationality is considered Chinese. They have it to where you are where your parents are from in other countries. You just don't take on citizenship and nationality just because you were born there. So, nationality here in America, and especially this part of the world, between Canada and Mexico and the United States, if you are born in that nation, you are granted citizenship, and that is considered your nationality. So, let's talk race. Now, what's the difference between race? Race is a categories broken down amongst the human species. See, they say we're all one human race, but the term should be species. We're all human species, and categories were broken down by Europeans in which they called, different breeds of people. You could say race. They called it race instead of using the terminology, let's say breed, like a dog, this breed and that breed. Well, we're one breed of people, you're one breed of people, you're one breed of people amongst the human species, and they called it a race. So race within the United States, they consider 5 races as you could identify as. So one is black, one is white, one is Asian, Pacific Islander, and Native American. Those are considered races amongst the human species. So these are the 5 different breeds of people that are tallied as being their own. Yes, Middle Eastern people have not yet been on the United States scene as their own race, as their own, group of people yet. They could still be labeled as white or Asian between one of those two. So Middle Eastern people and Indian people really don't got their own breed label, like white, European, Caucasians, black Africans, Asian Orientals, Pacific Islanders, and Native Americans. So, with that being said, if those are the 5 breeds of races amongst the human species, what would a Chicano be? What would a Mexican be? Right? He would not be the white guy, just white, or the black guy, or the Asian guy, or the Pacific Islander. We would fall under the category of Native Americans, being a part of that race and breed of people amongst this continent. That is the difference of what the United States considers race amongst the human species. Because, yes, we're all one species, but we are our own breed in our way, our own race. So, that is what race means. And so, next would be ethnicity. So, ethnicity is kind of a universal word. You could say what's your ethnicity instead of asking somebody what's their race or what's their nationality. Asking someone their ethnicity is more like asking them their heritage or bloodline. So, Chicano is considered an ethnicity label. Latino and Hispanic are considered a ethnicity label because they're not a nationality. There's no nation called Latino. There's no nation called Chicano, or there's no nation called Hispanic. And they're not considered a race or a breed of people amongst the human species. So it's considered an ethnicity label. So that's why if you ever look on the check papers, it says, what's your race? But what are you, Latino or Hispanic? And it says ethnicity. So Chicano is considered an ethnicity label of identification of people who put a label on themselves, or possibly by, because Latino and Hispanic were also created by, you know, Puerto Ricans called themselves Hispanics, and people from Latin America started calling themselves Latino. So these ethnicity labels identify people, mostly us, because we're the ones with these ethnicity labels. You can't think of, you know, what can a white man use? Caucasian, I guess. European, that's a continent based label. Black, Africans, they really don't got Negro. Those are not really strong ethnicity labels and terms. African American. So that's the difference between race, nationality, and ethnicity. So Chicano, which I am, consider myself, that's an ethnicity label, which is a group of community, of culture, of identity, who people who identify themselves as something. So that is the difference between those three, understanding and labels. I mean, nothing more. If you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's just to get an understanding, because a lot of people don't know the difference. And I get a lot of people say, well, how are you Chicano and say you're Native American? Because Chicanos would fall under the race category of Native Americans, not black or not white, not Asian, depending on whoever wants to talk. You guys are originally from that side of the world and came over here. That's a whole nother discussion. But amongst that, still we became our own breed of people, whether they mixed. We became our own identity, our own culture, also to say, because culture's meaning something else. So, culture is the way people believe and worship and choose to idolize stuff. So that is, culture. So what else could I say? I don't know. Hopefully you guys understand that so Chicano is an ethnicity label, and that's what I wanted to explain, and that's why we could be considered Native Americans amongst the categories of how the United States made these categories. If you we're all one people, but it's just an understanding for those who don't understand, and especially on my channel, because I say I'm Chicano and I say we're Native American, but people don't understand that, the labels and the way shit's categorized amongst the system. So peace out, give me a like, give me a comment, and go check out my interviews if you haven't with Loked Out TV. If you go to my creative playlist, right now, go to my creative playlist, scroll through, go into my interviews, and you'll see 4 interviews with Chicano Ideas on Locked Out TV. So go check those out. Or if you got Locked Out TV, look them up. Locked Out, LOKD, Out TV, Locked Out TV. So peace out, Chicanos. Give me a like and your thoughts.